Oh, it's out of
Okay.
focus. There we go. Yes. Okay, you're first.
I'm first. Okay. Where are the notes? There are the notes.
You are.
W-
You are your feeling. I can feel it.
Yeah,
Okay, go
yeah.
ahead.
Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Benedict, and I'm feeling sleepy.
And I'm Benedicta. Today is August 27. This is episode number 207. And I'm feeling free.
You're feeling free?
Free to do whatever I.
Ooh. That's much better than feeling sleepy.
Well, I'm kind of sleepy too, but when I was looking at the feeling wheel, I guess what I've been feeling the last couple of weeks, even though lots of things have happened and all of that, but I do feel free in a way that I haven't done in years. That followers, longtime listeners will know I've struggled with my mom's early dementia, and she moved into a home, and it's been a little guilt ridden and all of that, but also just being very like I could do whatever I want. I can just like leave and not have to think about her care. But then also Lillian is 9 and she can like deal with a lot of stuff herself. Like I still need to be there as like a the supportive emotional parent and like be there for her, but you can also like give her tasks and she will do them and she will like look out for herself and like think ahead and know what she needs to pack and all of that. So it's just like I just feel like a lot of just like mental space is just freed up. Um and we all just went to Denmark this weekend and just like left the house and yeah, like didn't didn't have to like
Right.
organize support people or anything. Well, we had to get somebody Ula organized somebody to come feed the animals, but that's not my responsibility, so I didn't even think about that. So yeah,
Nice.
feeling free. And then we ended the vacation at horse camp, which was glorious. Everyone has ever listened to me talk about horse camp. It's amazing. And I come back and I'm like, why am I even on the internet? I've said it before. And I'm going to keep saying it every time I go to horse camp. But I also do feel like a lot of like the tiredness of the last years and also like a lot of that emotional storage in my body. So while I was there horseback riding and just like loving it, I signed up for weekly lessons.
Ooh.
And I was like, I need to do this while I'm there because if I go back home and into the grind of things, I'm gonna be like, no, I don't have the time, or like that's too big of an expense, or but while I was there, I was like in it, I was like, I'm just gonna do it. So I signed up because they have an adults class at like 1:30 on Wednesdays. So I'm taking like a full half business day, sometimes maybe a full day, and just head out to the stables and you know do the cleaning out of the stalls and all of that stuff that you need to do, which sounds super like yucky, but it's very meditative. You stand there like you do a chore and you can see the thing happening and there's like a relaxing horse there and then you get to ride and look out over the beautiful fields and all of that. So I'm doing that and I'm very happy with
Maybe
my
you could do some
choice.
pressure washing.
Yeah, that was the summer. That was my summer therapy. Not like my back. Like I don't think it was that good for my body. The pressure
Okay.
washing. I'm hoping these horseback lessons. I could feel just for that week, like how your whole body kind of like just like it's like sitting on a balance ball, right? Just a live
Hmm.
balance ball. So
Right.
you kind of exercise everything and you have fun while doing it. And also, just horses are something about being with such large animals that are just like when they're chill, which these are usually. I got like a really old horse that was like super chill. We chilled out together. And it's just like it's contagious, you know, like just standing next to a large animal, just like breathing slowly and just like hanging out. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
admittedly, I feel a little bit uncomfortable around large animals, but it's probably just because I'm not used to them.
I mean, it was a fun at horse camp because there was a couple of beginner, or it was one particular beginner adult, and that's when you notice like how much of a beginner is, and how much of a beginner somebody who takes up riding again is. Because it's just that being like, she got stepped on her toe. Like I can't remember being stepped on my toes by a horse. Like that doesn't happen. And she was like, well, how doesn't it happen? I'm like, I don't really know. You just walk around the horse differently. I don't know. Like it's never been a thing. But then I remembered, like, I've seen or I've heard about more new people like that happening to new people, because you're just not used to positioning your body in the way you need to around this large animal, because they don't I don't think they ever really step on you on purpose. Like there are videos of large horses like trying really, really hard not to step on people when they use them for demonstrations and stuff like that. They can kick you if they're mad, like if they're actually mad, but they don't like step on you on purpose. But this one was going for some food, and the toe was there, so you know.
Yeah, food is more important than toes, that's for sure.
That is for sure. But I kind of took that into the planning, because school year has started. So
more freedom, I guess.
More freedom. I mean, like, it's quiet, and like I got this lodge house now, and that's pretty cool. So I took this into like a planning session that I did with my Creative Fears group. And we always talk about a focus project. Like, what is your focus project for the next quarter or the next 6 months? And like a focus project is something you do outside of your kind of operations, the stuff that you need to do to like keep your business running or to keep your kind of regular things running. It's supposed to be like developing something new, or like finding a new angle in your business, or like something you want to focus on. And I was like, I don't really want any projects. I don't any more projects. I just want to kind of relax. So I decided that my next focus project is Lovely Everyday Life. So that's what
Just
I'm gonna like think about every time I make a decision in the next couple of weeks.
That's a good focus project, yeah. I feel like that's something we all neglect more than we should. Like, yeah. I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah, and I saw this like on Twitter. I saw this tweet by Salma, where it's a comic where it's just like, I'm just gonna get through next week. I'm just gonna get through next week. I'm just gonna get through next week. And then it just becomes like this like ball of, I'm just gonna get through next week. And I feel like kind of been on that role for years now. It's a lot to do with my mom, and I kind of been and covering kind of those feelings up with just like doing a lot of work stuff and like trying to be busy. But now that I actually have this space, I'm like, it's so easy to fall into like regular or old patterns. So I need this to be my actual focus project. So if somebody asks like, hey, you want to do this, or do you want to do that? Or like, we have a good opportunity for you, or anything, I'll have to look at my focus project and like, will this give me a lovelier everyday life, or will it not? And horseback riding definitely gives me a lovelier everyday life.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds lovely.
So you got to keep me accountable.
Related to that, I've been thinking about getting drum lessons, like in-person drum lessons. Like long-term listeners might remember, like about a year ago, I started picking up playing the drums again, and we've been at it basically since. Like I think I mentioned it a couple of times, but we have kind of a drums mastermind group twice a week where we meet in the
I love that
morning.
You call it a mastermind group.
It's kind of like that.
We're ruined by our business lives.
We are ruined, yeah, for sure. I mean, admittedly, sometimes it turns into business mastermind group chat, but for the most part, it's like we meet twice a week in my mornings, and just like practice on whatever practice whatever we're practicing at the moment. Not necessarily together in terms of like in sync or whatever, but like everyone's working on their own stuff, and it's just the time and date we show up to do it, and that helps so much to keep going and keep doing this. And yes, we all skipped a week here and there, and maybe sometimes even two, but for the most part, it allowed, at least encouraged me to show up almost every week and almost every time and keep practicing. and I feel like I'm making progress. And at this point, I'm actually, like as I said, considering to get like proper lessons because I feel like
Do it.
it would be fun, I guess. um,
It would be fun.
it would be fun, and it would be something different. And I think some expert opinion from the outside would also be helpful, and maybe even some guidance. Because honestly, I've been just messing around more or less. I've been following some courses and stuff like that, and for the last month, 2 months, I've been trying to play a song and learning a song, and I can sort of play it by now. It probably sounds horrible, but at least it feels like I'm doing the right thing. But like getting some outside perspective from someone who knows their stuff is probably a good idea. I'm way too busy in the next month, but I should probably reconsider signing up for lessons afterward.
What you should do is sign up for lessons now
Now,
for that
right?
time, because otherwise you're gonna go into the next week. Like, I do not have time to go horseback riding tomorrow. Like, I
Yeah,
do not have time, but I'm gonna do it
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. You
it's
got a
gonna give
point.
me a more lovelier everyday life.
Yeah.
And just and I was that when I couldn't sleep last night. We both had some issues sleeping. Where suddenly, like, was it on a walk? Like, suddenly, like, things I've been like working on all day just like crystallized.
Hmm.
And I feel like, drumming lessons or like horseback riding or something where you kind of step outside like fully, and suddenly things, just like clicks into place.
Yeah. I had something like this last week. We went to bed. It was basically falling asleep, where suddenly I had an idea of why, like, we very, very rarely have problems sending broadcasts where they would just like start sending and then be marked as delivered without actually sending anything. And usually you can just like restart them, it's fine. And I, for the longest time, couldn't figure out what was happening. And last week at night, falling asleep, I was like, aha, I'm sure it's that thing. And I got my phone, opened it, checked GitHub, checked the code, and I was right. I looked at a line of code and was like, yep, in this one particular scenario, like it's a complex scenario, a lot of things
Mhm,
have to happen at the same time.
mhm.
But if one particular set of things happen at the same time, this one thing will cause this problem. And it felt so good. I didn't fix it right away, obviously. I went to sleep and the next morning I got up. And it's not fully fixed, but at least the next time it happens, we'll get an error message
Mhm,
and can like manually intervene.
mhm.
But it felt so good to finally figure this out.
But it is like, it's so cliche, and I know like we're supposed to talk about building our projects, but as we're getting older, and also I talking to people. I was at Laravel live Denmark this weekend. I
Oh,
was a speak
nice.
or not this weekend. I mean Thursday and Friday. I was a speaker on Friday, which is a lot of fun because I have
You
like
were a
introducing
speaker
myself.
even.
I was a speaker. That's why I went.
Oh.
Otherwise, like, I mean,
I
vacation.
did
I
not.
said
Why
yes
did you did not tell me about this before? Why not? Like, I mean,
because
a lot
I've
of
been
cool
like,
people were there.
I've been secretly ignoring that I said yes, because I said yes in
Oh.
January, where I was like, oh, I have the time. I did not have the time. And then, like, all summer, it's been in the back of my mind, like, I need to make this talk. Oh, so I've kind of just been secretly pretending it wouldn't happen. And then I came back from horse camp, and it was like 4 days later, I traveled to Denmark. And then I did my talk on Friday, and it went surprisingly well. It's my
What
first
did you talk
non-technical
about?
talk. I talked about, so the thing I pitched was like the joy of side projects, and how to keep them pain free. And I thought it would be like, just like little technical pointers or whatever. It was January. I had so much time, and it's like,
Right.
it's been churning in the back of my mind. And I had trouble like coming up with a way to kind of like, what did I actually want to say? And then while I was on vacation, on my offline vacation, again, see how important it is to just do different things. I was in Flom with my American cousin, and we were eating the Norwegian quick lunch, which is our chocolate for when you go hiking. It's a very specific Norwegian thing. And on the
Okay.
inside of this chocolate is our mountain code, which are rules for how to behave in the mountains so that, you
Mm.
don't die, basically. And I had this idea that I could transform the Norwegian mountain code into side project code, or use them in some way to like reflect on my side project experience. So it ended up becoming more of like a retrospective on side projects and POW, and like what I would do if I was going to pick it up again, and like what things to look out for. And so it became a lot more like what we are talking about. And a lot of the talks actually at Laravel Live DK was there was like it was an ADHD talk, and then there was an imposter syndrome talk, and then it was my talk. And it did seem to resonate with people. Like, the technical stuff is easy in a way. Like, you can learn new technical, there are technical things obviously that you need to learn, but it's quite easy in a way to figure out. But figuring out why you're dropping side project, or why you're always feeling like an imposter, like these are the things that are hard. I don't know why you call them like soft talks, but those are the things that are hard. And I managed to kind of translate these rules and have some notes in place by Friday, miraculously. But then I couldn't see my notes because like I haven't been speaking for a while. So like my notes screen, I couldn't get it to maximize after like having lots of issues on stage. I was just like, I just got to roll. So I kind of just spoke, and I had to stop at times. Was that everything I wanted to say on that point? But it became like a super authentic. It wasn't recorded, luckily, or unfortunately, I don't know. But people, like several people came up to me afterwards and said like, oh, that was a really good talk. And then they told me something specific they took from it, and all of them took different things. It was interesting that like none of them said the same thing. Like this one guy I was just sitting next to for some of the later talks, he was like, thank you, I will invest, I will pay somebody to do the data entry from my side project that I'm not going to make money on. Because one of the things I said is like, invest in tools and resources, because why do we feel so guilty spending money on our side projects that give us joy, while we don't feel it's wrong that somebody goes out and buy like expensive ass golf equipment, or like horseback riding? Like, you buy a horse and people are like, yes, you're not going to make money off of that horse, but that's okay. But like paying somebody to do something for your side project that brings you joy is suddenly something that we feel guilty about. Even just buying a domain, they cost like what, $30 a year, and we're like, oh, I bought another domain, I'm so bad. Well, I am, because I own 50 now, but it's like, if you want to buy a domain for a side project for like $30 a year, think about what people spend on their hobbies. So that was one. And then the other one that actually tweeted afterward, talked to me, but then tweeted yesterday, was about creating a focus, like, I guess the mountain code is use a map and compass, always know where you are. And I translated that, or like made that into record your progress, always know where you are. And I didn't want to assign a tool to do that. But what I've learned from my like business group, Creative Fears, is to have a notebook that is called a focus planner, that you use for one focus project, so that whenever you work on that focus project, you take that planner out and you work on that. And I've been guilty of not doing that, because I tried to have everything in one notebook, and then I can't find it. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to pick POW up again, that's like one of the things I need to do. But I said, it could be whatever, but do not spend time researching the tool, because that is not, like, you just need to like dump these thoughts. So I don't remember her. Yeah, Diana Die on Twitter. She wrote that she just picked up a side project she had unfinished business with, and she made a Focus MD right in the repo, and just like dumped all of her thoughts in there to kind of like get that out of her system. And it seemed to resonate with people on Twitter. So
that's cool.
Yeah. But like, did I have time for this? No, I did not. But it felt really good being on stage, and I'm happy it went so well. Just like, I don't know, I guess it was one of those talks that kind of just needed to happen that way as well, where it doesn't really crystallize until like it's said out loud on stage. In a way.
Right.
And
And I guess
and the funny thing is, sorry, last thing, I've never been so on time in my life in on my talk, because they are usually too long and I'm usually too short because I practice them and then I speak faster on stage. But this talk I hadn't practiced once. I hadn't done any run throughs, and I came in on 30 minutes and 16 seconds, and it was supposed to be 30 minutes.
That's good.
Yes.
Right on time. Nice. Did you get to meet? I mean, you must have met Peter Zoom and Michelle Hansen then, right?
I did.
Both friends of the show.
Absolutely. And also Matthias Hansen. And yeah. They are the founders of Geocodia, and they've created this is something you can do for Ruby. They created Cards Against Artisans, which is like a take on Cards Against Humanity, which I've never played, but I got to play Cards Against Artisans, and I'll link to a tweet about it. And it was a lot of fun at the speakers dinner. It was like a really fun way to kind of get people talking without, during a shared tribal language that I wasn't really 100% into, because I don't do Laravel, but I understood most of the jokes anyway.
Right. Yeah. Like just showing it to the camera if you're watching on YouTube. AppSignal has these as well. Well, not exactly that, but a similar idea of like developer dilemmas.
Ah, yeah.
Higher salary versus more interesting work.
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Fire your best friend. Your best friend fires you.
And the funny thing, I was playing with Michelle and Matthias made this game over the summer, like coming up with all of the things. And Michelle is not a Laravel developer. She's not a developer, but she's been around Laravel developers for so long that she's like in on all the in jokes. But she came up with so that the thing is, you say something like, one of them were, why is the CTO stressed? And then you can like put down reasons, and you're like, whoever has the funniest reason wins that round. And one that came up for this one was because all of the databases were moved to SQLite because of Aaron Francis.
Yeah.
But then another one is that Michelle had come up with was just someone else's cat or someone's cat. Which she was laughing because she remembered how much fun they had when they came up with it. And it surely works in like any of these scenarios, because it's like, why did the developer get fired? Someone's cat.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh no, it was actually, that was a lot of fun. So if you are, I don't know if this is going to come out while Laracon US is still on, but if you are at Laracon US, Matthias has some of these card decks with him.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I kind of want one of those now.
Yes.
Well, anyways.
I want one for JavaScript, but will it create a lovelier everyday life right now? No, I'm gonna I'm gonna put it on the ID shelf that I'm gonna create right here.
The empty ID shelf.
The empty ID shelf is gonna be filled up with ideas that I might do in the following year.
Or might not, because quality of life, right?
Quality of life, yes.
Talk about conferences, so do you have another point you wanted to add?
No, I was going to ask, aren't you going to a conference? We were trying the same segue, both of us.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we are going to a conference as well. And I'm not sure I mentioned it. Did I mention this before? But we, and that is Leo, our front-end developer, and me, are going to Emberfest in Dublin in 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 2 weeks. I guess it's 2 weeks. Yes, we're leaving tomorrow in 2 weeks. And it will be the first time we're meeting in person, which is basically the reason why we're doing this in the first place. We wanted to send Leo to a conference because yeah, I feel like he's earned that, and he's done good work in the past. And we had like Michael, who worked with customer success with us, and Katarina, who's doing customer education for us, and things like that. They got the opportunity to go to MicroConf in the previous years, mostly because Jane had a ticket and couldn't go. But still, like, we sent them to the conference basically for free, more or less.
Mhm.
And we always felt like it's unfair towards everyone else that we did this for those two and not for the rest of the team. So what we decided to do this year is we're sending Krista, who does podcast editing and marketing and stuff like that. We're sending them to Ahrefs conference in Singapore, and we're sending Leo to Emberfest in Dublin. Initially wanted to send him to EmberConf in New York, but that turned out to be just one day event, and it felt like a little bit like traveling, I don't know, 12 hours one way. Felt like,
Yeah.
nah, that's for a 1 day event. Not sure. Luckily, there were some visa issues as well, like nothing major, but yeah, the visa wouldn't be ready in time. So luckily we didn't do that. But instead, we're now sending him to Dublin, which he's in Brazil, and it's not
it's
that
in
much
Brazil.
longer.
I never realized.
Yeah,
it's in
it's
Brazil.
quite.
I was
It's
like,
quite.
visa issue.
Yeah, like, I mean, US visa issues, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't need a visa for Ireland, which is good.
Mhm.
And it's like, I mean, sure, it's a fucking long flight, and it's insane. I'm not sure I would have done this or like agreed to doing this for that a trip that long, but um, he was up for it, and it's not that much more longer than going to New York for him, just a few more hours. So yeah, we're meeting there, and not sure why, but like, apparently they had issues getting enough proposals for talks. So I was like suggesting that he just like write a proposal for a talk as well, and it got accepted. So not only is he going to the conference, we're meeting there, he's also going to give a talk.
Ooh.
And because the conference itself isn't paying for travel and stuff like that, and we are paying anyways, they decided to make us a sponsor. So we're officially
Yay!
sponsoring our first conference, and I'm getting to meet Leo, and he's going to give a talk, and hopefully it's going to be amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking
And we
forward
talked
to that.
about this. The best way to do conferencing is by talking, because then people come and talk to you, and he will get lots and lots of Ember friends.
Yes, that's the plan. And I'll just be there cheering him on, I guess.
Yeah. You'll stand next to him and be like, I'll be your friend as well.
Hello.
Hello. I am Leo's friend. I will be your friend.
I can be your friend as well. Yeah. So let's see how it goes. His brother will be joining as well. So it will be a big get together of people I know from the internet. So that I'm looking forward to that very much.
Dublin is a fun city, though, so I think it will be well worth his trip.
Yeah. The little bit of downside is that our schedule is like super tight, and we don't have a lot of more time to spend there. We're basically there for the conference and a couple more hours before and after. So I have a feeling we'll not see much of the city, but still, will be fun to hang out, and I'm sure we'll see a little bit of the city at least. And
if I remember correctly, it's a very walkable city, like the good European cities are. So,
right,
as long as the venue isn't really outside of the city, you can, go for a walk to a restaurant and go for a walk for lunch if you need just like a little bit of a breather and see.
Yeah,
just get the vibe for the place without like doing the tourist stuff necessarily.
Yeah, I hope we'll manage to do that. I mean, we have to get some food for sure, so we'll do some exploring, I guess.
On that point, though, I forgot to say that Laravel Live DK was one of the best organized conferences I've ever been to. It was super lovely.
Cool.
The venue was amazing. The food, this is why I remember, the food was amazing because the venue was next to a food, not even a food court, but like a whole like food market. And we got little
Nice.
like gift card or prepaid credit cards that we
Mm,
can go on, and we could go and buy whatever food we wanted for lunch. And
that's nice.
yeah, in this space. And I feel the talks were really good. The communications from the organizers was really good. Yeah, it was just a very well put on conference. Unfortunately, all the talks were basically about Laravel. Other than that,
Well, apparently not all of them.
not all of them, but most of them were about Laravel. But that's fine.
As it should be on a Laravel conference, right?
Yeah. I got laughs when I said, because we talked about that during the speakers dinner. I was there very much as the token Norwegian, and I asked the audience, "Is there any Norwegians here?" And like one guy raised his hand, but I couldn't remember how he looked like afterwards. But I was hoping he would like come up to me afterwards and be like, "Yeah, I was a Norwegian." I should have said that from stage, like talk to me afterwards, but he didn't. So there was like one other Norwegian at this conference that I never got to meet. And we're wondering if like maybe there isn't like a Laravel community in Norway. Like we are very, I mean, all of the developers I meet are JavaScript developers, which is kind of obvious because I'm a JavaScript developer, but also our community is quite small. So when you go to meetups, it's usually not that specific. Like often the tech meetups are more broad, but I haven't really met anyone who said they were a Laravel developer. So that's interesting. So if you know any Norwegian Laravel developers, you can recommend they go to the Laravel conference in Copenhagen next year, because I think they're going to do it again.
Nice.
I guess that's it.
Cool. Yeah, I guess that's it. Don't have much else to add, I guess. I'll be out next week, but we're not recording next week, so it should be fine. The week after, yeah, I will still be there, just preparing to leave for the conference. So see you around the interwebs in 2 weeks.
See you around the interwebs. Bye-bye.
Bye.